And joining us here today, we have the president of Hasbro. He's here to tell us all about the third version of this Fantastic Four team that'll be hitting store shelves once again between recycled junk, starring black and gold Spider-Man, and same old crap, featuring retro Hobgoblin. They're all part of the great winter lineup on Hasbro's Who Gives a Rat's Ass January. Hello there, gang, and welcome to another episode of Displaying Model Behaviour, the Earth's mightiest action figure video podcast. So take off your pants, crack a beer, and let's talk toys. Let's talk about the Fantastic Four Retro Wave. Finally, I've got these guys in my hands, but the question is, are they worth the wait? Or are they more of a fantastic snore, am I right? Well, the answer is somewhere in the middle. This is actually the second time that I'm filming this review because I was getting too negative, and I don't like being a negative Nancy. Because Hasbro, it's tough to love you because Hasbro giveth with one hand and they taketh with the other. So we just had some great stuff with the Spider-Man Retro Wave, and now unfortunately I'm kind of dipping down a little bit. So let's talk about them. Let's just get the elephant out of the room first. Sue Storm is bad, like real bad. Annoyingly, so it's the head. I mean, I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. This head sculpt is how, who let this get through any kind of QC? Human beings don't look like this. That's not, a jaw should not be out here. She's not like the guy from Maniac Cop. What's his name? Zadar. It's like, bless his heart. You know, he had, a condition that made his face look like that. Sue Storm is meant to be a reasonably attractive human being. I don't want some Playboy cover model Sue Storm, but also I don't want Sue Storm who looks like she's had major reconstructive surgery after a horrible boating accident. Bad Hasbro. Real bad. Don't know who was responsible for this, but quite frankly, see me in my office, okay? But the thing is, the whole figure is a step down, and that's the kind of problem that I've been having with this retro wave. It's recycled, it's reheated. It's the Walgreens wave reheated, and basically the Walgreens wave was a delicious meal, and then we had it and it was like, oh, that's good. And then Hasbro were like, well, we're going to reheat it again, but don't worry, we're going to sprinkle some other flavorings on it, and we're going to warm it up again, and there you go, it's the Super Skrull wave now. Okay, well, that tastes alright, and now they're like, okay, we're going to have one more go with this. We're like, dude, we've eaten most of it, there's nothing left. No, we're just gonna like move it around a little bit, push some of the pie crust back on, warm it up again, and here you go. And it's like, no, you went to the well one too many times, and that's the problem. It's the old body as well, so this is the old female body, so we've got limited articulation. It's not as nicely put together as the new one, and they could have done it. They could have done it on the new body. Just slap this coat of paint on here, and that's all it is. But they were like, nah, it'll be fine. We've already got these figures. Why not just do the easiest thing, guys? Come on. And unfortunately, they did. And that's where you see like the decline sometimes of Marvel Legends, because Walgreens Sue Storm, she came with the half translucent arms. That was beautiful. She came with Herbie as well, so you got so much bang for your buck. Then the next one, she just had a power effect, no translucency. That was a bit of a shame. Now we got no translucency, the same power effect, no Herbie, no Build-A-Figure piece, and a busted face. Bad, Hasbro. Bad. I was trying so hard to be positive. But at least I did the complaining with a smile on my face. So that's a step in the right direction. Let's go to a slightly better one now, though, with Mr. Fantastic. And only slightly better just because his face sculpt is at least, it's a good-looking Reed Richards. This is great, perfect, like classic Reed Richards. I dig this. I really like this face sculpt. The rest, though, again, it's the decline of Marvel Legends. Walgreens, you had Reed, removable normal arms, huge big bendy arms that you could put on there with bendy wire. Oh my goodness, so great. He had an ultimate nullifier. He had all these wonderful extras. Then we went down to Super Skrull, and it was like, okay, so we're going to lose the bendy arms, which is a real shame. We're getting these awful salad tossing tong fingers. Well, hopefully that's the last we see of those. But at least we get a Build-A-Figure piece, and the Super Skrull Fantastic Four had more details on their suits. There was piping, there were different boots that had like the nice kind of grips on them. I like that costume a lot. And then we get this, and again, it's reheated for the third time. The body, exactly the same. They brought back the stretchy fingers. Why? The one thing that we said we didn't like. Again, they took the easy option, but we did get a little something something. So at least they've gone, and they've been using this technology a bit now, which I really dig. It's this wonderful removable arms jacket tech. So I'm going to do this like in the moment. But I really, really like what they've got here, because this changes around your options so much. And I appreciate that. So yes, we don't have Mr. Fantastic using his powers, but we do have him in a lab coat, which just mixes things up a little bit. And I dig that. I like it. I think the lab coat looks a little bit too bright white, matching his gloves. It looks just a little bit strange. He looks like he's in a Willy Wonka chocolate lab or something. It's a little bit odd, but that's okay. I appreciate the effort, and that's a big thing. I appreciate something different. But again, someone said in my comments a while ago that he said, you should stop saying that you appreciate the effort, or Hasbro didn't need to do that. Because he says, yes, they did. You're spending your hard-earned money on an action figure. They should give you your money's worth. I'm like, no, you do have a point, but I don't want to be a negative Nancy. But at least with Reed, I will say you do get more. You get the coat, you get a good head sculpt, but the rest, again, it's reheated Sunday lunch. And by this point, it's starting to taste pretty bad. Okay, let's bring things up a little bit more now with the Human Torch. This was the Human Torch that I wanted from the Super Skrull wave, but now we've got him fully flamed on, which is great. I wanted him flamed on from Super Skrull because I didn't have the original Walgreens one, and now we've got this one, and he's actually good. I do like this. Again, it's all reuse, which is a little bit of a shame, but still, what we have is really pretty. I love his flaming hair, and they have done little tweaks to make it a bit more unique and individual. I like the fact that they've done the little classic retro sort of black lines on the body, and also he doesn't have the 4 on his chest, so if you want to, you could totally fudge this in as one of the Defenders as well, with Captain America and Namor. That's fun to be able to do. So in a flight stand, he looks really pretty. So I dig this. There's not a huge amount to say, because again, it's a body that we're all very, very familiar with. All of the accessories, the sculpting on the hands, this is all Walgreens. So it's the reheated Walgreens, but at least when you've got a character like the Human Torch, reheating actually makes sense. So of the Fantastic Four, I like this guy a whole lot more.
And then we got the ever-loving blue-eyed thing. And now this guy I actually quite like, but at the same time, does he hold up to scrutiny? Well, we're gonna find out about that, aren't we?
I'm gonna drop that. That's quite difficult to do. The Thing, I always love the Thing action figures. Walgreens, Super Skrull, and now this. The body is so great. If you don't have a Thing already, then he's well worth getting. If you do, though, you are pretty much buying the same figure again, but also less so. I think this is the weakest paint job that the Thing has had. I think, honestly, I liked the Super Skrull one. I liked that it was like a bit lighter, and that was kind of cool. But then Walgreens, he is just beautiful. And again, we're getting a little bit less. So it feels like there's just not as nice a paint on this. It feels a little less shaded, or less plasticky, or more plasticky. Less shaded is what I'm trying to say. And like, we've got this sort of dry brush around the top here, but it doesn't look like it's been dry brushed. It looks like it's just been like wet brushed, like someone just painted a little bit around here. Like it's a thick, very clear line, and it's like it just doesn't look like there's time spent. It feels like for Marvel's first family and the wave that you are kind of pairing up with your biggest HasLab ever in Galactus, you really could have done more. And instead we got this. This is a fairly animated looking head sculpt, which is fine. It's a decent head sculpt. Then we got the open-mouthed one, which I'm like, he looks odd. I don't know where you would use that expression. And then we got the fisted hands and the opening hands, and those are fine. Those are all right. But generally, like, I love the Thing because he's a big, chunky figure. Nice, big feet. You can plant him down. He looks big and imposing, just like things should. But still, I gotta say, I feel like he's the weakest version of the Thing that we've had. But still, they haven't changed much, so there's still a lot to like. Now, before we go to the villains, we've got the Hasbro Pulse exclusives, and this is where business picks up a little bit. Johnny Storm. I really like this guy, and the problem is, that's so typical backhanded sort of compliments. I really like this guy, and the problem is, no, he looks really good. He's just kind of surplus to requirements, because I would want my Human Torch to be fiery and as, bright as possible. But if you're a super completist, this is a handsome looking Johnny Storm. I love the blue and white Fantastic Four costumes. I just think they look big and bold, and they pop off the shelves. I really dig that. And I love what they've done with the partially flamed on look. You've got the extra sculpting on the fists there where they're just catching fire. You've got the removable flames. And that's the other good thing. You can totally depower him as well. He's got normal plain fists as well. So if you want to, you can have totally relaxed Johnny Storm. But like having him in this sort of transition kind of phase, I think that looks really, really cool. And also, if you kind of pair him up, that's what I want to try to do maybe, is have him sort of like a 2-in-1 kind of display, like it's sort of showing in motion of powering up and then flying off. So that can be really nice. Also, this Human Torch Johnny Storm face sculpt, this is really good. Whoever did this, I'm sure like it can't be the same person. If the person who did this, then they were having a bad day. Because this is really decent. And basically, there's not too much to say because we all know we're familiar with this body. We like the paintwork is neat, but now I just feel like I'm saying things for the sake of saying them. This is a nice figure. He's not essential, but he's good to have. And now it almost feels like there was a logical reason as to why we got this face sculpt, so that they could then sell us this one, where it's not a problem anymore. Because honestly, in translucent, with no paint, you can't really tell any of the sins of the face sculpt. And you just have this really cool, pretty looking translucent Sue Storm. I was running out of words there. She looks great on the shelf. I think that obviously this and this and this and this. This is how you want to display your Fantastic Four. This is what I'm going to go for, certainly. And this works. There's color, and it's a really nice kind of combination. So she's put together exactly the same as the other Sue. I think it almost feels like it's a different face because it looks so different without any paint on there. But no, I think it's the same face. I mean, why wouldn't it be? But still, this is a massive improvement over the other figure. It's kind of a shame though, because like I love these powered up designs, but also I love the blue and white costumes. So it's a difficult kind of trade-off. But ultimately, yeah, if you wanted to get the Hasbro Pulse exclusive, this is definitely the superior Sue Storm, because you do not want to be staring at that other face sculpt on your shelf. Now let's bring on the bad guys. And again, this is where I have a few gripes, a few like, I'm just not too sure about this kind of thing. Psycho Man, I think the problem with this character is just you can't help but have him look very plasticky. He's just that's his design. And so like I'm not even knocking Hasbro. It's just like to my eyes, my aesthetic is all this plain white plastic. It just feels like a Tupperware container. I don't feel like there's any detail. It feels more like a kid's toy as opposed to an adult's collectible. And, heaven forbid, if I start playing with kids' toys, then what the hell am I doing with my life? These have to be adult collectibles. They can't be toys. They must be collectibles. So that's a bit of a difficulty. When I just hold him in hand, he just feels like he is literally from a 90s Saturday morning cartoon. Like, it doesn't feel like a modern action figure. I think that maybe because it's just, you can't add any more detail to this, because that's what he looks like. So Hasbro, I'm not knocking it. Because if you said like, all right, Dave, well, how would you make him better? I'd be like, well, the body, I don't know, because I wouldn't want to change it, because it is comic accurate. The face, though, this is kind of a problem, honestly, I think. Because it's this plain yellow, again, because there's no sort of shading on it, because I don't know, it's not a mask, is it? That's what Psycho Man just looks like. But it's such a neutral expression that I just feel nothing. It just looks like it looks like a plain mask. Like there's nothing going on there, and I just feel like it just feels cheap and plasticky in hand. Even like his Psycho box thingamajig, they didn't put any sort of extra extra shading or color or anything. It's just, it feels very, very plain. There's a lot of plastic in this. And of course, it's a action figure made out of plastic. What do you expect? Well, I don't know what I expect, to be honest. That's the problem. That's why I'm the worst. Because I'm like, I'm not happy. Why are you not happy, Dave? I don't know. I just don't like it. But there you go. So I don't know how they could improve it. But again, maybe a more expressive face. Certainly. I think a face where Psycho Man's more like, I'm Psycho Man, as opposed to Psycho Man. That would have helped a lot. Also, just one fist hand, one holding hand. Like, could you have given us different hands? Or I don't know. It just feels like, at least he's a little chunky. But because he's chunky, he just feels like a big chunk of white plastic. And I just can't get on board with him. And then we have the High Evolutionary. And you know what I was saying about a big chunk of plastic? I don't know. He just feels cheap in my hands. I'm not sure why. I think maybe because there are just literally two colors. And again, I'm not knocking Hasbro. I'm not, because this is what he looks like. You know, I get it. I dig it. I understand. But maybe some characters, some designs just don't lend themselves to action figures, maybe, because it just feels cheap, you know, and it's a real shame, and I don't know how to improve it, because that's what the High Evolutionary looks like. The face sculpt, again, this is where actually I feel kind of bad, because the face sculpt has some nice details in there. There's some nice lines and divots and rivets, and there's a lot going on there, but then it's just all lost on the pink paint job. And I think that, I don't know, maybe if they could have like changed the tone slightly, but then that wouldn't necessarily have been comic accurate, and that's the whole point. Like, we want comic accuracy. So it's a difficult figure to crack, and I don't know how they could have improved it. But even if it feels very plasticky, then maybe give us some more stuff. Give us a more expressive head as well. I know the High Evolutionary is a very stoic character, but it's just I can't see much in here, and that's kind of a shame. I guess it's just me being like a big man child. I want more animated kind of things going on, and this is kind of just like I'm just not getting anything from you. You feel like he feels very light as well. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. I probably am, but he just feels very light in hand. So yeah, I'm just not down. I'm just not down with him. It's a shame, but yeah, it's a weak finish to a dubious wave. Alright, so let's rank this wave and see what we're thinking at the end here. So at the very bottom, absolutely Sue Storm. Terrible. You reheated some old stuff and then made it worse. Bad, Hasbro. Then we have the High Evolutionary. He just feels like a cheap plastic toy, and I don't know how they could have improved it, but what we got, I just am not a fan of. Then we have Psycho Man. See my notes on the High Evolutionary. It's exactly the same. I don't know how they could have improved it, but I just don't like what we got. Then we got The Thing, and this just feels like it's the same thing that we've had for the third time, but this time with a paint job that isn't as detailed and nice as the previous ones we had, and an extra head that looks just kind of weird, so not too much love for The Thing. Then we got the exclusive Johnny Storm, and I like this. I love the Johnny Storm face sculpt, and I love the partially flamed on effect. I think that works really well, especially because you can take it all off and have him as neutral Johnny Storm. That is a good thing. Then we have the translucent Sue Storm. I really, really like this. I think that with the different kind of, the lack of paint, basically, with the lack of paint, it takes away all the sins of the previous head sculpt, and we just get a fully invisible woman. I really, really like that. Then we got Reed Richards, and honestly, I don't know, maybe I'm placing him a bit too high, but I like the gimmick. I like the gimmick with the lab coat. The fact you can do two very, very distinct looks with this figure, that really helps. But man, those stretchy fingers, that ain't great. And then finally at the top, we have the Flame On Human Torch. But again, it's just a reheated figure. This is not a huge cry from the Walgreens one, just a slightly deeper red. Honestly, it's the best of a bad bunch, but this wave, I'm really not feeling it. And that does it for the Fantastic Four Retro Wave. 8 figures, and not a single Build-A-Figure to be seen. That in itself is kind of a shame, but that's what we get with the Retro Wave. But normally, the Retro Waves are kind of, a little bit more impressive in other regards, like the Spider-Man Retro Wave. This one, it felt like we're being resold the same thing, but not as good. So I was down on this. It's a shame, but sometimes it is what it is. You got to roll the dice with Marvel Legends, and you don't always win. That's not me saying that I hate Marvel Legends. I'm just saying that we have seen some really, really great action figures from Hasbro recently, and these guys, I feel like they kind of let the side down, especially because they are not the Fantastic Four, they are the Fantastic Four, but they are Marvel's first family. So we should be doing better for the flagship family team of the Marvel Universe. Hasbro, come on. Pull your socks up, you can give us a better Fantastic Four. So folks, thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you see here and you want to see more, join the 6-1 Clicks by clicking the like, share, and subscribe buttons, and don't forget to smash that notification bell. Also, this is a new thing I'm doing now, so I'm going to kind of like trial this. I wanna be your guy for Marvel Legends, because I do love Marvel Legends, but I can't afford all of them. So what I'll probably do is start buying them, doing the reviews, and then selling them. So I'm going to start selling them on my Instagram account. And if you buy a Marvel Legend from me, then you will also get a snazzy Displaying Model Behavior gift pack. Oh yeah! Including a sticker, a keyring, a certificate of authentic Displaying Model Behavior citizenship achieved by yourselves, and that's just a fun way of saying thanks for giving back to the channel. So yeah, check out my Instagram to see what I'm selling and where. And I do ship internationally, but oh my goodness, those shipping charges are pretty big. So if you're in England, then that's probably okay. But if you're in the US, I will happily ship over there. But yeah, that might get kind of expensive. But we'll see what we can do. Either way, it's a fun way for me to try and do all these Marvel Legends reviews without A, bankrupting myself, and also B, just being buried under a gigantic pile of action figures, which honestly doesn't sound like a bad way to go. So guys, thanks very much for watching, and until next time, keep displaying model behavior.